Good to go there. Okay, we're back for the final day of the ATA show, and I'm sitting down with Jake, Alex, and Kevin from Latitude Outdoors. And I want to talk about this, the stick. the best new product of ATA 2023. I mean, how about it?
I mean, we couldn't be more excited to get that award. It's been a really long project for us. I mean, we've been working on this for 3 years now. So it's kind of weird for us to put it out into the public. But we're glad it was received in such a positive light for sure. Very
positive. I mean, this has been the talk of the show. I mean, everywhere I go, people are talking about, like you'll hear in a conversation, you see those sticks from Latitude, like they're carbon composite, like they're light and they're going to be sweet. Like everybody's talking about it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people curious about it,
yes.
Right? Because something like this is, you look at it, it's just something that you don't recognize. I mean, climbing sticks have been the same thing forever.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they've been tweaked slightly here and there, but just visually this looks very different. I mean, it's one single piece of material, so so people are curious about it.
Kevin, where did this start from? Like 3 years ago, what was the idea? Like the initial, blueprint, what did you want to come up with?
Honestly, using this material was originally Alex's idea. I think it's his organic chemistry background that he's always thinking about new materials, innovative materials. So it really started with him. He kind of put the idea out there, and we just started, researching it, investigating the feasibility of doing something like this with a carbon fiber composite material. And from there, we just started to pull in all the different characteristics of our favorite sticks that we've used in the past and try to mesh as many of those into this product as we can. And I think we got just about every one of them. And then we had to kind of figure out how to get the material to work.
Yeah.
And that was probably 90% of the work. And that's why it took 3 years, because it's something brand new. This material's really never been used in this type of an application, but it's been used in a lot of harsher environments than you would experience in the hunting woods. So it's used in aerospace, it's used in the automotive industry. So it's a really cool material that you can get some awesome performance out of. It had just never been taken and applied to this scenario yet. So
I like it, and that was one of the things I was wondering about was in very cold temperatures, how would this hold up? So, like, where's the background from that?
Well, it's been tested down to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Yep.
Okay.
And the material itself also has a melting point of almost 600 degrees.
Wow.
So, that temperature operating range is extremely wide, and it's outside the bounds of what you're going to experience out in the woods.
That's crazy. What's your opinion on it, Jake? I want to know what your opinion is.
My opinion?
Well, what do you think about him?
No, I mean, I think we're all very, excited to have finally been able to show them to everybody. Like Alex said, we've been working on this for 3 years now. And, there was points in the process, I think, where with this product we hit a wall and we just didn't know if it was going to keep going or not.
Yep.
So this has kind of been one of those big learning experiences for us in that, just keep going and hopefully it'll work out good at the end. And here it is today. So
what kind of patience do you have to have in a process like this?
A lot of patience.
Well, more than I have. But
No, that's it. 3 years in the
it's
making.
A lot of hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
Often, so.
Well, can we get into some specs here? Like, what do we have? Like, kind of, you guys, you have the floor, and now it's not going to come with the aider, right?
No, the aider will be separate, but you can see it's fixed double step design, 18 inches overall, 17-inch step to step, and it's right around 19 ounces in weight. All metal free, even down to the attachment method.
Yeah.
So we're using a UHMW PE rope, commonly known as AM steel. Everybody knows AM steel.
Yeah.
And kind of a unique cleat attachment method here.
Yes. Yep.
So everything's very fast and quiet attaching to the tree.
Yeah, so with the attachment method, one of the things we wanted to accomplish was flat stacking.
Yes.
Because it's important for hunters running a saddle, right? But it's more important for guys running a tree stand. And so we wanted to make sure that these sticks catered towards both those people because, people have different preferences, right? So we made sure they were tree stand friendly sticks. And that's where that attachment method came from.
Yeah, and I love that the look of it. Like you said, it's like you look at it, it's like, what is that? You know, it kind of makes you stop and have to go up and like, well, that's crazy, you know. And I don't know that thing. You guys have cedar trees in the booth. Those things bite like crazy.
Yeah,
I was like really surprised in how well they bite. And you get up in there and jump on them, and they don't move.
Yeah, these guys did an incredible job doing, analyzing how the teeth would interact with different sized trees. And you'll see that actually on the back of the packaging, you'll see kind of a little visual explaining that. But they did a lot of work on that to make sure that they bite how they should.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the first things we tested with this material, too, way back when we started the project. It's kind of interesting. I'm just reflecting on the last couple of days as we're talking here, and a lot of the questions we're getting from people checking these out for the first time are a lot of the questions that we had to answer ourselves when we first started the project to make sure that the material was going to be right for the application. So I know it's kind of cool to kind of think back and, yep, we checked that, yep, we checked that, and think about how it all came together. So
that is cool. Do you think you'll ever come out with like a longer version, or do you think this is kind of where you need it to be?
Yeah, you never know. But
TBD.
This has been the focus.
I got to ask the tough questions.
No, you're all good.
No, I don't ever like using the word game changer, but it's there. You know what I mean? And how you said stack, we should have brought 3 of them, but when you stack 3 of these together, you can hold them right in your hand.
Yeah.
That's how flat they stack, and there's no dinging or donging or nothing like that. Actually, they sound like rattling antlers when you hit them together. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
That was by accident, not by design.
Yeah.
So we got lucky on that one. But
they double as rattling antlers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What was the toughest part of the whole process in 3 years?
Well, I'll say this. So this material, it's very difficult to prototype with. So you can't just get a big block of it and start cutting a stick out of it. It just doesn't work that way. So we had to find a lot of creative ways to, like Kevin said, test the teeth, test the profile of the teeth, the durability of the material, the attachment method. And we found ways to kind of do that all individually, and then you put them all together, and you don't know if you've got it until you're all done at the end. And we went through multiple phases of that. So that, I think, is the most challenging part.
Yeah, getting creative to test different aspects of it was definitely a big thing. I think, in my opinion, and the reason you haven't seen something like this before is that figuring out how to make it strong enough. That this material is really, really strong, but getting it to be strong in the shape of a climbing stick, there was a lot of effort that went in there. And a lot of, we had a lot of help on it too. We were hands-on with this project and led this project from day one, but we had some outside resources that helped. The University of Michigan provided some help. We have relationships there from going to school, and so there were a lot of engineering minds that went into this to figure out how to get that strength performance out of it. Because honestly, when you look at it and you pick it up and it's that light, you're like, no way is that going to hold me.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you put a guy, we have a friend named Carvin who he's over 300 pounds.
Big
right?
guy.
And these are rated for 300, so
Yep.
Keep that in mind. But he gets on them and they're, no problem, right?
Yep.
Plenty stable for him even. So in my eyes, I think that was the nut that needed to be cracked by whoever was going to figure this out. And it took 3 years, but I think we got it.
What are some creative ways of, like you said, Jake, you can't just get a block and start cutting into this. What are some creative ways to be able to test a prototype? What were some of the methods you were doing to...
Oh, we had like this Frankenstein-looking setup, actually, that it was like part of a stick. Just pieces of aluminum bolted together. We got different cleats screwed on one side than the other, testing different things, different standoffs. tooth patterns and that sort of thing. So I think that was probably the interesting thing. It reminds me of like what they do in like Formula One or something.
Yeah.
So you have to get creative.
We were able to. We 3D printed a mold, right?
We use all sorts of different things.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd use 3D printing. We really kind of broke out each individual little part or feature and tested them individually in different ways. Right. 3D printing was a thing we used a lot of. We molded some aspects of the stick as well, separately, just individual pieces, and as Jake mentioned, had a Frankenstein stick essentially at one point that was testing various things, and we bolt stuff on, take it off, and that's how we were kind of able to chunk through testing different things and then bringing it all together with the strength analysis, and that ultimately produced what we have here. So,
and not only obviously it's got to be strength. It's got to withstand weight and what everybody's going to put it through. But secondly, the teeth on it, like, there's got to be certain angles you got to have, right, to bite in, or certain, I mean, you can touch those; they're not going to hurt you, but they sure as hell bite into a tree really hard. Like, what is the trick there? Angles or cuts, or how's that work?
I don't know if there's any like magical trick to that. I think it was just a lot of iteration and seeing what works and what doesn't. So
there's no trick, right? But I mean, these guys, they don't give themselves enough credit, right? Like, they spent a lot of time analyzing contact points of the teeth, right? So there is a little bit to it in terms of like optimizing the angles of the teeth and how steep are how steep are the angles of the standoff, right? What's the distance between the teeth? How many teeth are on there? So they played. I mean, we had how many? I can't even tell you how many different standoffs I saw.
I want to see the Frankenstein.
Yeah. We should show
that. The tooth profiles, it's challenging on climbing sticks. I mean, think about the variety of trees that guys climb, and the size itself is a giant variable, but different types of bark, different barks are deeper or taller or, flatter, harder, softer. So, a certain tooth profile might work really well on a big tree, but terrible on a little tree. So how do you kind of optimize it to work for the widest range of situations that you might encounter?
Now, does more teeth necessarily mean better bite? No?
No. I mean, look at like I think industry-wide probably the highest performing standoff is probably a B stick, right? And so there aren't a ton of teeth on that standoff, right? So it's definitely not a number of teeth thing.
Yeah. Oh, it's just wild. Tell me, like, with the Amsteel rope here and, your attachment point here, this is all one piece, right? The whole stick is one piece, like nothing's attached to it. Like, it's all, how does that process work? Like, how does it get cut out from a block?
Well, it doesn't, and unfortunately we can't really go into the specifics of how it's made. There's some protected things around that, but at high level we use a lot of pressurized manufacturing methods to get the carbon fiber throughout the entire part and get it in the correct alignment at the molecular level with the other materials we have mixed in there, and that's really how you get the strength in all areas of the stick. But
very cool.
Yeah, it's a complex process, but it will also allow us to make these pretty quickly if we need to. So one of the things that's been a challenge with other premium lightweight sticks on the market is getting access to them, just availability. And we're going to be able to make these available when needed for people. So we're excited about that.
That's awesome. Now let's go to the aider here. You guys offer an aider. How big is this aider? What is it going to retail at? And can you put different aiders on this stick, I guess, because there's tons of different aiders, right?
Yeah, you could. You could put any type of aider on here that uses 2-point attachment method. The one we have is 17-inch distance that matches the step-to-step distance on this stick. What was your other question about?
What's your aider going to retail at?
Retails
$15.99.
$15.99. And then what's the stick price going to be?
So the 3-pack is $239.99.
Okay.
And then the single is $84.99.
Gotcha.
And then as far as the aider thing goes, you can see that. So these are almost little slots, right?
Yep.
For even if, a lot of guys would like to run those webbing aiders,
Yep.
right? The multi-step. That's why that's there, and you can see that there's a raised. This is raised up a little higher above and below the step, and that's
Yep.
to keep that webbing aider in place.
So it won't come
if you
off.
install
Yep.
it, yeah.
Yeah, the thing's not going to move. I mean, it's not going anywhere. And I like these little.
These little these
Cinches.
cinch things are really cool. And Kev, one day he just sent us a picture of them. Like, oh, well, that looks great.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
And so
and they
you-
got Latitude on it too.
Yeah,
Great-
the
great
little
branding.
logo on there. Yeah,
Yep.
it looks nice, but it works really well. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a very simple and clean solution for that.
Yeah. For those that aren't watching the video, we basically have a little shoulder on the bottom edge surface of the bottom step that helps
Yep.
hold the aider on. So
Yeah.
it was designed to be integrated with that aider. Other aiders will work on it if they can attach on the ends of the bottom step.
Attention
Yeah.
show attendees.
Now,
Next coffee talk will
you guys
begin
just
at
got these
2
done
p.m.
basically, right? I
in my
mean,
ATA area.
you've been using them, but, trying them out and everything. But ATA was when you
Again, our
launched
next
it.
coffee talk will
What were
begin
your
at 2
thoughts
in my ATA
before you
area.
brought it to the public? Were you worried? Were you like, we've got it? Like, we know it. You know it works, but like, were you just like, I don't know how this is going to go. This better go good. Like, what was your thoughts on all that?
I mean,
You're all
I
looking
felt.
at me.
We probably all had different thoughts. So
I would love to hear all of them.
I mean,
What were you thinking, Jake?
I was just anxious about it. I wasn't super excited. I was trying to stay sort of even keel about it, but I at the same time thought there was a chance that if we entered it, it would do well. So
It did.
I mean,
we did. Yeah.
I thought they were going to do well. I was curious about the perception. What were people going to think? Because it is just a totally different concept,
Yep.
different material. But I was really happy with how they turned out. So
Yeah.
I was excited to show them to everybody.
Yeah.
I was stressed out. In I guess a good way, right? A good stress because we got to the end of the line on the project finally, but we're really pushing the envelope with something new here, something that people have never seen, and you just never know how people are going to respond to that. Our testing and everything all suggests that, hey, people are going to like the characteristics of this stick, but it's still new. It's brand new,
Yeah.
and anytime you do something that people have never seen, you're going to get opinions on both sides. So, I probably am too hard on myself when it comes to releasing new products. We don't want anyone to have a negative experience.
Right. Yep.
And that's just not reality. Some people aren't going to like certain things you're doing or building, or they just might have a different way of doing things, right? Prefer something else. So, but we strive to, have bat 100%, I guess, or bat 1,000.
Bat 1,000.
They bat 1,000. I'm
Bat
not a baseball
1,000.
guy.
Yeah.
You bat 1,000. With every product launch. So there's always some stress involved in that regard. But
Well, my thing with you guys, and I respect the hell out of, is you guys are, we're trying to have these ready for the summer, right? Right before the fall. And it just wasn't to your liking. And it's like, you've waited 3 years. I could only imagine you just want it to be there. Like, let's go with it, and you didn't push it out the door. You're like, it needs to be perfect. And you guys do that in everything you do, not only products but in life and hunting. And I've been with you guys, and it's like, you guys are just top notch. You do things the right way, and a lot of thinking goes into it, and you got best new product. It's awesome. And this thing is, I don't think you're going to be able to keep them on the shelf, to be honest with you.
appreciate
Well, we
that.
hope
Aaron.
you're right.
Yeah,
I really think so. But
Yeah, I mean, we're very thankful of all of our customers, right? Like, because the reality is that our customers funded this project.
yeah,
So, like, we're sitting here holding that award, but it should be in the hands of all of
Sure.
our customers because we never would have got to this point.
sure.
And so when you talk about back in the summer when we decided to hold off and change some things, well, that's because we're thinking about all these people, right, who supported this project, and we don't want it to come out not right.
Right.
So that's something that drives everything we do.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
Well, is there anything in closing that we didn't hit on that you want to talk about the stick or anything? Anything you got coming new that you want to talk about or can talk about or?
Well, now that we got through this, we can start all the huge list of new
We've
stuff.
got a giant
The
backlog.
Rolodex is
Yeah.
a Z.
There's a big backlog of new stuff, so we're excited to start working on some other things more, and there will be plenty of new things coming from us even this year. So
Yeah.
Awesome.
more details to come.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.